Well, welcome, Christian metal community. My name is Jimmy, and we have the jazz soul metal, Mr. Jay Goodwin here. What's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on?
Hey, what's up, party people?
Well, today we are talking with Erick Lee from Resuscitation Records. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, good, man. We're so glad to have you on and learn more about you and your record label. So, Eric, tell us, did you grow up in a religious home?
Uh, my mom was a Christian, or is a Christian, so she took us to my brother and I to church, and so there was religion on half the family, and I think it was actually her bringing us to church and us going to Sunday school every morning that got me where I'm at today, and so very thankful
Nice.
for that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Did you grow up in a musical home?
Not like I think it skipped a generation. So my parents not into music, but my grandfather was a really successful recording engineer
That's cool.
in the '60s and '70s, and was really big in big band music,
Oh yeah.
and later into rock and so he had that career. Skip my parents, and I'm hoping to carry the torch for the rest of the family.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
What was so what's some of your earliest memories of getting into music? Like what made you the first ones you kind of listened to and it made you love music, and then how did you progress into harder styles of music?
Well, junior high, really started listening to hard rock, and that was like when Appetite for Destruction came out, and
Yeah.
Skid Row was real big, and Bon Jovi, and so started getting interested in that. And then when I got into high school, it was metal, and got introduced to Christian metal at a very early age. So, first tape I got was Hammer and Nail by White Cross. Um,
Yeah,
and
nice.
then like the next week, I got What's Dead by Vengeance Rising, and
Yeah.
I caught the bug at that point, and really just went headlong into Christian metal. And I grew up in Southern California, so that was really epicenter of a lot of what was going on in the metal community then. Is when Sanctuary was, they just kept pushing out bands, and so really followed a lot of the Intense Records artists,
Hmm.
whether it
Yeah,
be Deliverance, Sacred Warrior, obviously Vengeance. And actually, I met Roger Martinez at a Crucified show when I was in high school, and
oh
Wow.
wow.
I will never forget that. And
Yeah,
so he was working the admission booth at the club, like he was taking the tickets. He was the ticket guy, and he had a mock-up of the Destruction Comes cover art, like right there, and I could see it. And Crucified played, and they Scattered Few and Deliverance opened for them. Maybe Crucified opened for Deliverance. I don't remember now.
yeah, rub it
Um,
in, rub it in.
I know,
That's
right?
pretty
Man.
amazing. That's pretty amazing.
but yeah, I got the opportunity to see a lot of that. I saw Extol and Blindside play at a local high school, like before Blindside was
Wow,
anything. And
that's
I couldn't
incredible.
believe it. Like Extol was coming to my town. I lived like in a small little town, and they're playing in a gymnasium. I'm like, I'm going. And it was great. Good
Now, what year
opportunities
was
for me.
that?
I had to been late '90s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's like burial era. Then that was definitely.
yeah, it might have been between Burial and Undeceived. I mean, it was before. It was when Blindside was still on Tooth and Nail, and they weren't that big.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Um, and I mean, I went for Extol. It was like, and I had no idea Blindside would become what they became. But yeah, it was a good opportunities where I grew up. And then we'd go to shows all over. Tourniquet played like at a tiny church where I lived, and any
that's
chance
awesome.
we'd go to shows. I mean, anything from like L.A. to San Diego, like we would go.
And unfortunately, I never did get to see X-Toll or Blindside, but I did see Tourniquet at Carowinds Christian Music Day.
Hmm.
And the most memorable thing was Ted's drum set was so big you couldn't
Yeah.
see him, and they already had it set up on a drum riser on wheels, and they rolled it out the whole set out on stage whenever it was their turn. It was pretty incredible.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seeing Tourniquet was amazing, and I think I saw one of the first shows with Luke Easter, and so like no one knew who the new singer was going to be, and
Dude,
that was pretty fun.
Luke,
And then
Luke,
also at
he
that
was a
time,
good kid.
Precious Death. You guys know Precious Death?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've got Precious Death. Yeah,
I mean that was they used to play all over, and so the fact that I got to see them play, like no one knows who they are anymore. And that was great too.
You grew up in that area that just had all those awesome bands.
Right.
Yeah, it was lightning in a bottle.
Man,
That's pretty awesome.
That sounds great, man. So, with your love of music, what influenced you the most to just be like, you know what, I want to start a record label?
It was like a dream I had for years and years, and never had any money to do anything, and then we started having kids and working, and barely have time for any music at all. But finally got to a spot where I saved up a little, and I could afford to put some records out. At the same time, I really started expanding my vinyl collection, and was not content with the limited amount of records that I'm interested in that are in vinyl. And so, really trying to focus on vinyl and press records that I want to hear, that without somebody helping a band just to give them a little more oomph, that it probably wouldn't happen. And so I've been able to work with some great bands to put what I think is some really good records out. And I'm in a spot in my life where I can lose a little money on a release, and the bills still get paid, so it's good.
Amen.
Well, that says a lot in the Christian metal industry these days.
Oh man, dude, it's been, yeah, it's been crucial, but God is good. Like at the same time, So yeah, I think so. I guess we can dive into like some of the bands that you actually have put out stuff for. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, what was the first band that you signed?
Well, so I mean, I don't really have contracts, like long-term contracts with anybody. It's one-offs. And so the first record I did was a comp called "The Bitter Taste of Lost Years." And
I got that.
Yeah, but it's I know
Wow.
I mailed it to you.
Yes. Well, I think you had it for like $10 or something. I'm like, how can I not order this? Like, I don't understand. I don't even know how you got it at that price point, but that's amazing.
Well, so I lose money on every time I ship that one out. So it was my.
But it promotes bands that you do have access to. So I mean, I guess it maybe will even out.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'm playing the long game, and in the long run, what that record did was it allowed me to put something out, and I found 10 bands that were interested and willing to take a risk on me, and they gave me their songs, and in return they got some vinyl, and most bands want to be able to have vinyl on their merch table, and
have you ever pressed CDs or cassettes, or you specialize in vinyl?
Yeah, I did CDs for that one too. So I did the comp on vinyl and on CD,
Okay.
and I sold like 4 CDs.
Okay.
And so it's really not my market, and
It's
I
crazy.
was excited to do them because CDs are like super accessible to print now.
It's crazy how that technology has come back around and flipped, and now vinyl basically is outselling CDs, and I mean in the general market and everything. It's pretty insane. Well, yeah, like Jay said, let's go over the bands that you are currently working with. And I'd be honest, I'm not even sure how to pronounce the first one from Australia. How do you pronounce that band? Anon.
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 I think I've never met the guys, but that song I
Oh,
put on
yeah.
that record is really good.
Oh yeah, let's show it if you got it. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah, there we go.
this is the
Yep.
Bitter Taste of Lost Years. It's I
Yep.
think it's $9.99 in the web store right now. So I'll tell you. Let me tell you. I'll back up a little bit. So what I'm trying to do is not only do vinyl, but also like high quality. So everything I press is on 180 gram, which
Okay.
if you listen to vinyl, you know it's like you're not getting a flimsy record. And then
I can confirm that. I've got at least 4 releases that you've done, and I will say one of the things that I noticed. So I wrote reviews for 3 of the albums in Heaven's Metal for the Heaven's Metal magazine website. But one of the things that I noticed on all of them was the booklets are actually well done. Like whenever, as a fan, when you get an album and there's not even any print on the record cover, there's nothing there. This comes with a full spread booklet, the photos, stories, and stuff that, like as a vinyl owner, that's the things that you look forward to. You don't physically own an MP3, right? So that's pretty cool. So I can tell it's high quality. Yeah.
So Jimmy, you're stealing my sales pitch, man. So
I'm sorry.
I totally appreciate you get it. And so and what I'm finding is people that are into vinyl, they get it too.
They get it, yeah.
And so I mean, there's nothing more disappointing to me than I get like a brand new record from a band that I've been looking for, and I open up the packaging, I pull out the sleeve, and I'm trying to shake out the jacket for the rest of the stuff that's supposed to come out, and there's nothing that comes out. It's just a flimsy record. Or when the worst is when there's a really great record that's like being re-released, and you think, oh, there's gonna have some like extra photos, or there's some extra stories involved, or cool liner notes, and there's nothing.
And it costs more.
And it costs more. And so, I mean, and this is, so yeah, you hit the nail on the head. I'm trying to not only have high quality production of the actual record, but each of the releases I'm doing, they got 8 to 12 page lyric booklets on the inside. So, so this comp that I did, it was a perfect opportunity to do that because each band got their own page with some photos and the lyrics.
The thing that really that I really hate, and I guess I don't know if there's a way to even tell and know exactly which ones, but if they take a digital copy and put it on vinyl.
You're saying, has that happened?
Oh, I mean, it has happened, but how do you know? Like, how, as a fan, how would I know? That's what I'm saying. Like, if they're just taking okay, we got a digital copy, it was pressed to CD, we're just going to take that and not do anything to it and put it on vinyl and release it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, it's I mean, I think try to find reputable companies that are doing stuff like I think Rock's Records is doing some great stuff.
Yeah, that's the first people I was about to mention because
I got an order from them in the mail right now.
Okay, yeah, because it's Black Friday day, right?
And
so,
right, yeah, Cyber Monday. Yeah.
I mean, they had CDs for like $4. I'm like, dude, I gotta, some of those albums that are $40 were maybe $12 or something. I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
And then so Bill from Rock's Records really, I've been buying records from him for years, and he was some of the inspiration I had. It's like, well, Bill's doing like some great stuff in the metal realm, and I'm interested more in like the hardcore scene, and so Face Down Records puts out amazing records, but they only put out a few records a year. There's more bands than ever out there now.
I've got an order from them in the mail too.
Yeah, we all have orders out because they're all half off last week.
Yes, that is so funny. It's so funny. I mean, when it comes to the bands that you've released stuff for, you're talking about hardcore bands or whatever. But the first thing I thought when I was looking through your your catalog of bands, I was like, it's a requirement to do music with you that you have a name that's hard to pronounce. But then I saw the Great Commission on there, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just got those on distro. I didn't release that.
Let's go through the bands, and then Jay, if you got anything about the band you want to say too, because I don't know all the bands. I'm familiar with some of them, but so Eric, what is Anon Australian Metalcore?
Yeah, so I don't know much about them other than this song I found, and I worked with them to put it on the release, and it's a great song. I mean, it's And they're kind of like a sleeper band that not many people know about. They do have a new vocalist, I think, and they did a single with the singer from Diamonds to Dust a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, we've interviewed them. Yeah.
So they're pretty cool, and so I'll go over the bands on the comp that I put out. The first band was I Am the Vine. They're out of Canada.
Okay.
I think they're on hiatus right now. They haven't done anything recently. Plead the Widow's Cause. They're on here. I've done 2 records with them. Also, they're amazing.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons I bought the comp.
Yeah, so they had put out their Pain Split record, and they were gracious enough to let me put their the single out on the comp, and then subsequently we released their whole record on vinyl as a collaboration, and that worked really well. Bought by Blood. I think there's like 2 or 3 Bought by Blood bands out there. This is the one from the Philippines, and they have.
I didn't know that.
They've broken up, but they're much more like a straightforward hardcore band. Really good, great guys. I think like 2 or 3 of the members they're pastors, and so next band was Collapse Revive. I'm sure you guys have heard of them.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with them. They're really good.
So their production value on their all their material is really, really good. So I was really happy to get them. Barriers out of Northern Ireland. They put out an EP, I think last year or maybe early this year. And this is one of the earlier singles. And so I met Alan online, and he was willing to take a chance and give me the song. And so that was good. And on the B side of this record, Your Hands Write History. They're out of Oregon. They I think are on hiatus as well. And the guitar player that played on that album, I think passed away tragically in an accident. So
I did not know
I think
that.
that's probably why the band's.
I remember reading about them. Their name was an acronym or something.
Yeah, for the Tetragrammaton. Right? So yeah, it's like Yahweh.
That's right. I thought I remembered that from somewhere. Yeah.
But those guys, they got great music. And then there's a band called So Much Hope Buried. They gave me one of their earlier songs. So they're on here. They've since changed their sound. They're more of like a pop punk oriented band, I think now. But this song was more hardcore. Intercessor gave me one song, and they're like a genty deathcore type band. This one was more like straightcore metalcore, straight up metalcore, and that's an amazing song. And it's with their old singer, but it's a great song. And then also the Forerunner was able to help me out, and so Forerunner has been around for like 15 or 20 years, and John brought the band back with that single, and so Oh My Soul. Nice. And so a lot of the stuff that the Forerunner was doing was taking like worship songs, either like old hymns or just classic songs from like 90s, early 2000s, and making them like hardcore songs. And so this is one of those songs that they did. And
See, I was not familiar with probably 75% of the bands on that comp. So that's a good thing that you give those bands a shot.
Well, thanks. Yeah, so I reached out to about 20 bands, and these are the 10 that were willing to take a risk. And from there, I've been able to forge other relationships and have some credibility behind me that I can actually get something done. And so vinyl pressing is not easy to do, and it's not brain surgery, but it's you gotta get different masters, and it takes months to get product done. And I started right at the tail end of the pandemic, so vinyl was real slow to get. But it's the times are speeding up now, but it's a daunting process. It is expensive, so a lot of bands just don't have the upfront capital to start it. And so I think I've been able to provide some value for the bands I'm working with, and it's spun into other things. So I did the Plead the Widow's Cause Pain Split record after that. And from there got connected with Alan from Deader. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Deader, but they were on Blood and Ink Records
Right.
probably 10
Okay.
years ago,
Remember that great
and
label.
so they had a new EP they wanted to put out, and so partnered with them to do that, and from there started working with the Forerunner more, and they're great. And the singer also is in a band called Take. And so takes
The
much more
the secular band Cake that's been
uh,
around for
not uh,
years.
not cake take
Oh,
Take.
Take. Oh. Nice. Yes, I'm familiar with Take and
So
Cake. I take the
so
cake.
Right, there we go. There we go.
so this is Take. So they had I'd never heard of them, and so I was working with John from the Forerunner, and he's telling me about his other band that he was gonna. They had another record they're working on. I'm like, who's this Take band? And they had a bunch of songs that they had released online, but had never had any physical copies of. So we did a 5-song
Oh
comp
wow.
with Take, and it's a split. So on the backside, you have 5 songs from the
Oh cool.
Forerunner.
Okay. So
Um,
does Take stand for something, or I mean I don't know. It's just an
uh,
odd name.
you'd have to talk to John, but I think that it's the name is definitely confusing because there's a band called The Take. There's I think there's a lot of bands called Take. So this is the one out of Las Vegas,
Yeah.
um,
Well,
so they've been around for about 20 years, and so they had this record that they did called Time Bomb, and they were looking for someone to put it out. So I was fortunate enough to work with them and did this record,
okay.
and it's out of print on vinyl. It's like my biggest regret since I started this label is I should have printed more of these.
Okay.
And I think Lloyd Harp, his
What
distro
does
still
it take
has
to go
some.
back and repress a second pressing? Is that too much money or?
Yeah, it's the second record that I've gone out of print on. No
Okay.
Treaty being the first, and I just did a second printing of No Treaty, so we got plenty of those.
Nice.
Take what I'm finding is bands that play out more are able to sell more
Of
records, and
course.
so Take hasn't played out in quite a while, and um, uh, I don't know if there's a market for a repress. If anyone's
Gotcha.
interested, you know, send me a message, and I'll put it in queue and we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
But like, honestly, like this is probably one of the best records in the last 5 years they've come out in my opinion. So if you guys haven't heard it, it's a great blend of there's
hardcore
metal,
and
hardcore. There's they've got a real Rage Against the Machine influence, and so there's some songs that are
oh, cool.
much more somewhat like Rage, and and the vocals are great. The production's amazing. That's a great record that I
Yeah.
can't sell you, but you can stream it.
I love the some of the names. I don't know, Jay, if you saw these on. So like Your Hands Write History, you got Oregon progressive metal, Take is hardcore metal, So Much Hope Buried. That's one I hadn't heard of. Pennsylvania piano driven post hardcore. That's a mouthful.
Sure is.
Um, see, Plead the Widow's called New Jersey hardcore. No Treaty Spirit filled metalcore. Intercessor, that's one I'm not familiar with. Twin
Right, I'm not
Cities
either.
progressive metal. Have you heard of them, Jay?
I hadn't. That's what I
Intercessor.
was saying. Yeah, I hadn't heard of them, but I'll be checking them
I
out.
Am the Vine, Canadian Heaviness, The Forerunner, Las Vegas Hardcore,
Hmm.
In Enthroned. Is that how you say that?
Hmm.
Enthroned,
Enthroned. Okay,
X Enthroned
Enthroned.
X.
Yeah, Christ Core from the Philippines, Debater, Philly Hardcore, Collapse, Revive, Michigan Hardcore. You got Clear Conviction, Spirit Filled Hardcore Veterans. All by Blood is Filipino Preach Core. So, it's a different. Barriers is Violent Praise from Northern Ireland. I love that. And A9 or E9 or A9, is it A9 Australian Metalcore? That's just, those like names are like, whoa, okay, I want to check this out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of great brands out there that I've been just really blessed to be able to work with and help, and all those bands I recommend everyone checking them out. I mean, they're all available on streaming. I think on the website you can sample a lot of stuff right from there. From their, if you click on their name on my website, there's links to
Yeah.
Spotify on there.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so X and Throne X, they're the latest band I started working with. They're young band out of the Philippines.
Okay.
So we've done 2 streaming singles with them, and it's I'm looking forward to seeing how they develop over the next few years, and it's amazing when I put out releases. I'm shipping stuff all over the world now. I ship stuff to Australia. I sent something to Poland and Hungary last month.
Wow, that's incredible.
There's a hunger and desire for good Christian music out there, which is great.
Love it.
For sure.
Absolutely. As it should be. In a lot of ways. Yeah, as it should be. Yeah, now next we got to get a festival going.
That's right.
That'd be good.
So in this day and time, a lot of people are streaming music, of course, and then we have AI, which is a whole nother thing. So a lot of people are definitely getting their music for free or via paid subscriptions to sites. But of course, when you do live shows, people sometimes do want physical media, but also even for the preservation of the culture and whatever else. How important is it to have physical media for music, for Christian music, Christian metal, whatever? Let's just talk about it from that angle.
It's such a great topic. I think I'll start from my own perspective. I've got like 10 or 20,000 albums on my phone, and I'm easily distracted, and I can't remember what I want to listen to. And I remember back in the day, I'd have my CD collection on the wall, and I knew exactly where that album was that I wanted to listen to because of where it was on the wall. Or I'd always catalog my CDs. Like I'd recatalog them. Sometimes it'd be in alphabetical order. Sometimes it'd be by genre. But I know, like, okay, I'm interested in some thrash metal. I'm going to go to this section of my collection, and all my thrash metal records are going to be there, and I'll be reminded of that, and I'll pull it out, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about this, and I'll put it in. The same thing with my vinyl collection. It's a good reminder of what I'm interested in, because we are in a hyper distracted world, and there's, I think, the last time I saw, it's probably more now, but it was like 60,000 new singles are released on Spotify every day. And there's too much out there for me to remember. And so it's unless I'm going to sit on my computer or my iPad and make playlists all day long, having a physical copy in a corner of my collection that I know where it's at that's just how my brain works. And so I think, from a distraction point of view, that's where I land. And then you get the whole preservation, archival aspect of it. It's, humans collect things, whether it be pottery or tapes or cars, and clearly we can tell Jimmy collects records.
Yeah,
maybe.
And so do I.
There's no treaty right there.
There
Clear
you go.
convictions, and that one's plead the widow's cause. Yep.
love it.
And so to have like an artifact of something that, and I think it's important for bands, like, they put their heart and soul into an album or an EP over, sometimes a 1 or 2 year process, to actually have an artifact that they can point to and say, I did that, or they can, with pride, sell it at their show, or be able to pass down to their children or their grandchildren eventually. It's like, oh, dad was in this band and dad did this. I think musicians like that as well. And with my record collection, I mean, like, one day I'm gonna be gone, and my kids are not gonna go through my Spotify playlists. I'm gonna force them to deal with crates of records that they have to dispose of.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know, this it's reminded me of something actually too. It's kind of related. There are even, various sites or whatever where you can read the Bible, but there's nothing like having a physical Bible to carry with you to read. You know what I'm saying? And maybe different versions. I mean, back here is like got like how many Bible versions we got back here? Like one, two, three. Well, some of them are like some different versions, like the same versions, but four, five, six, seven, eight. It's like eight Bibles right back there.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, sometimes it's important. Like some of them may be different versions, but yeah, I think that sometimes like just doing something like being able to mark up your Bible a little bit and take notes um, in a way that will not happen just by like picking up your phone and you
But
know.
and it's so true, and it's also so my longtime pastor who I love dearly, he called it his e-Bible versus his tree Bible.
Yeah.
And the point of having a tree Bible, it's like you remember like where that verse in Psalms, you remember, you might not remember the exact number, but it was on the left hand column about halfway down.
Hmm.
The human brain works differently with physical things that you can touch.
Yeah.
And we're bombarded by media all over, and having something to sit down and hold. Like, I mean, I love getting a new record. I'll put it on the turntable.
Hmm.
I'll sit down with a lyric booklet and like actually absorb it.
Yes, lyric booklets. Yes, sir.
And even like when I was growing up, like I'd go into the record store and getting CDs. Like I would read the liner notes, every liner note on the
Right.
CD, and that's how I found the next band I was going to get interested in, because I'm like, well, who do they think, and who's this person, and
Hmm.
who's Doug Van Pelt, and what is Heaven's Metal, and
Right.
and that's how I eventually subscribed to Heaven's Metal, and that's how I learned about the Cornerstone Festival,
Yeah.
um, and and nowadays, if on a Spotify playlist, if that's all I'm finding, there's a richness and a depth, and an opportunity that's lost.
Yeah, that's
I can
interesting.
agree. You
So,
want to? Yeah. Go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead.
I,
That's
I,
funny.
I was
I'll
just
say this
saying,
real
having
quick.
something to physically hold in your hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And I think as a musician, myself, whatever, like I know growing up, looking at the notes like in the CDs or whatever, like you
Yeah.
know, even learning like from album to album who produced what, so I can study a production style or who did what on an album in a session, like whether it's keyboards, like my main two instruments, keyboards, drums, like who played keyboards in this, who played drums in this, how can I study their style? I can go to YouTube, whatever, then and be like, okay, hey, Dennis Chambers played drums in this or whatever, Phil Keaggy played guitar on this or whatever, and just it was a good way to learn, to study people's styles, for influential reasons.
It's different than who uploaded this to Spotify, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Right, like sometimes you don't get to see the credits. Like sometimes you'll see the lyrics in the credits, but I mean, if like I use Apple Music a lot, and sometimes I can find the lyrics, sometimes I can't, or it
well,
might
and
even be listed on there wrong, sometimes.
I love physical media of all kinds. So I also collect cassettes like this
Hmm.
one. I don't know if y'all remember
Oh, I
this
remember
one.
I remember
Highway
that.
5.
Five. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cool thing, like I think everything that you get, it has a story too,
Yeah.
right? So this right here, this album has Deliverance, Savior Machine, Rose, Die Happy, Mortification, Mortal, and Tourniquet. I mean,
Hmm.
you're not gonna find that collective on many places back then, So having
Hmm.
something like this, and then also on the back of this, there's a sticker, and it says property of Unity Covenant Church, West Fork, Arkansas. I've never been there. I don't know where that is, but some youth group had this and turned them on to these bands.
Hmm.
So that's when I say, like, when I get a record, that's been used too, and there's like maybe some writing on it, or there's a picture inside that somebody
Hmm.
left. There's always a story to it, and I
Yeah.
can physically hold that, and I can read, okay, one of these albums that Resuscitation's released, I can read about the band, who's in the band, who are they thinking, all that. You can't do all that with an MP3. You don't own an MP3. They can take that away from you at any minute.
Totally.
Oh,
Well,
right, exactly. That's also scary. Like that part for sure. I think that like when this interview comes out, that'll be like when we share it, that'll be something good to like create a discussion for in the group for sure.
Sure.
well, and it's also like, I mean, back in the day when you had to go spend like $15 or $18 on a CD,
Hmm.
or maybe 20 or 25 on a vinyl record if it was out there. I
Right.
mean, or even like $12 on a cassette. Like
Hmm.
when I was growing up, that was hard earned money. That was like, that was like
You appreciated
3 or
it.
4 hours of going to work at fast food to
Right.
buy that. And like, and I spent time with those records. Like, I got Once Dead by Vengeance Rising. Like,
Yeah.
like I listened to that over and over and over again hard to understand the lyrics, but I would read them and I could understand them, and I'd inadvertently memorize them because
Yeah.
I'm spending so much time with it. And I find that if it's just on my Apple Music or my Spotify, I like it. It's enjoyable, but I don't spend as much time with it as I used to. And if I get
That's a good point.
if I get the record, I mean, you guys know, like you're spending probably upwards of $10 on shipping a lot of times, plus the cost of the vinyl. You're in $30-$40 just to get something. I'm gonna spend time with it because I paid the money.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also the sound quality. I mean, I know some people's like, oh, I don't get it, especially the younger generation. But anytime you have a digital form, it's compressed sound.
True.
Now, how compressed it is, that's depends on how it's uploaded. But
Hmm.
it's different. Even on cassette tapes, it's still not the same full volume as a record, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, and when you're talking about memorizing the lyrics and all, and you couldn't if you just listen to them, you can't really understand them. I remember doing that with Anguish Unsaid. I don't know if you remember that band. They were a hardcore band
Yeah.
on Betty Rock Records. Man,
Betty
I
Rock,
love
yeah.
that album. And I sat there and I read the lyrics as I listened to it and all. Yeah, it's so good. That's seeing that again. That's good memories.
Yeah.
Like I've asked a lot of people, what was your first album that you bought, and they could tell you. Very, very few people, if any, can tell me what their first MP3 was that they downloaded.
Oh, so
Right,
true.
right.
I mean, I go back. I remember when Sanity Obscura came out from Believer.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah.
like I remember where I was when I opened that CD and listened to it for the first time. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely remember that.
That's so
Um,
good.
And people don't have that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the first, like, yeah, I remember Diamante, and they used to have these promos where it was like buy 3 get 1 free type of stuff. So my first 4 Christian metal albums were all extreme metal. Like I'd already graduated to extreme metal by the time I started actually when I got old enough to buy CDs with my own money. And
Yeah.
it was Dimensions by Believer, Non-Existent by Living Sacrifice, Released Upon the
Yeah.
Earth by Vengeance Rising, and Scrolls of the Megaloth by Mortification.
Great.
Scroll.
Yes, I started off like,
Well, those are good records to spend your Diamante coupons on.
yes, exactly. Yes, sir. It was great
Yeah.
stuff, man. Those records, the CDs changed my life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that I've really been fortunate is like I came at a time where I enjoyed metal, and there was great Christian metal and stuff that helped me, between that and the church I was going to and the friends I had that were all trying to pursue the Lord. All of that, you mix that up in a bottle, and it really helped to form what I think is, I've been able to follow Christ for all these years,
Hmm.
and having Christian metal as good entertainment, and also learning stuff along the way. At times, it's been a total blessing.
Yeah. That's so good. Well, I wanted to talk to you about, so you have releases, artists that you've released on Resuscitation Records. What's the difference between that and then the records that you have distro rights to? How does that work?
The releases, I've got 8 releases up to this point. So the last 2 I did was the new Plead the Widow's Cause record, which is Silver Glass Stare, and then the remix of Clear Conviction's Endure record. So those we just released, I think, like probably about 6-8 weeks ago.
And how long ago? When did the record label actually form?
It's been about 2.5 years.
So okay, well, eight
almost
full
3 years.
releases in between. Okay, nice.
Yeah, it'll be 3 years in March, I think, that my first release came out.
Gotcha.
So that's what I've done on the release side, and then with the distro side, I've come across records that people are interested in that sometimes they can't, hard to find, or really what I'm trying to do is records are expensive to purchase and ship, and so what I'm encouraging people to do is pick up a distro release when you're buying one of my releases, and you're saving on shipping because you're going to buy that record somewhere else anyways, perhaps, or maybe introduce you to a band that you might not know of. Like I've got a Testimony of Apocalypse by Sacrament in the distro. Like what an amazing record. And most people that are buying my releases are not familiar with Sacrament. Or Detritus. And I had Tourniquet's Pathogenic record for I had a handful of copies there that I was able to sell, and like there's a lot of people that just they're not aware of it because they're either younger than us or there's so much music out there. And so on the gesture side, I really don't have any rights. I've just been able to procure records at wholesale pricing and passing along. And what I'm really trying to do is just incentivize record purchases.
So you're basically, you have like the Sacrament or whatever that's on your distro. Then you're not physically shipping that. Does that come like it's like or do you?
I do. So I bought like a handful of those records some years ago, and I've just been trickling them out as people buy them.
So like if somebody orders something through you and it's on Blood and Ink Records, Blood and Ink's not shipping it out. You are.
I am, correct.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, like the NIV record, their newest one, To Burn Again. I've been able to sell 10 or 20 copies of that, and it's what I'm trying to develop the website is if you're looking for anything in the hardcore realm in Christian music, if you're looking for a vinyl, Resuscitation probably has it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Nice. I like that. Yeah, you're going to be the go-to for hardcore. That's right.
That's the hope.
Yeah. Nice.
And another thing too is I'm trying to the bands I'm putting out, I'm really trying to I'm interested in Christian music that's unashamedly Christian, and not from a I think that the Bible needs to be shoved down your throat or anything like that.
You know what the JPMs are, right? Jesus beats from
right, exactly.
Not in that regard, yeah.
So there's no threshold like that, but it's what I'm interested in. And there's so many bands out there. I mean, there's a lot of bands out there that that are Christian-esque or Christian adjacent or Christians in a band. And then there's a lot of music I like that's it's not Christian music at all.
Sure.
And all that stuff is, I think that's fine, but the stuff I'm investing my time and my energy on, what I'm hoping is if you're buying a release from Resuscitation Records, you know what you're getting, and I'm trying to find like-minded people that are want to put out records like that.
Well, you got some really cool ones on. I love the Used and Rare. I might have to pick up a couple of these Pantocrator on vinyl.
Absolutely.
Dude, man, that's awesome. I have that Crux. I think I got the re-release of that. Okay. The Cakewalk. That's a
good record.
And I see you have Oh Sleeper, Nothing Left. And you got the new Project 86. That's pretty rad. I crowdfunded that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Project's one of my favorite bands. It doesn't matter how much people like or dislike one album from another. I'm one of those that I will buy everything they release. So I've seen Andrew in concert probably 15 times at least.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
love it,
So
man. Yeah, so that's I'm trying to think. It's funny. I had a, you have a question in mind, then you like it just kind of drifts off, but it's okay though. Man, I think it's really cool that you're doing Christian music. That also goes along with preservation though. Just because like we as Christian artists overall, we just if secular artists are struggling or whatever, then Christian artists financially especially are struggling even more. Like there's rarely a push for we're fighting so many people like in the first place. We're fighting the world, and then we're fighting the church who doesn't understand us a lot of times. So that becomes interesting. But I think that having labels and that want to just make sure that music stays out there and that artists have a fighting chance to to I guess have their music out there. I think it's a beautiful thing. So you know I appreciate you. I think that you and and the many others that are actually doing the label thing it's just important. It's vital to the preservation and the continuation of the Christian metal, the Christian punk, Christian hardcore, and I guess you could say Christian
live.
hard music overall.
Yes.
Scene like it just cannot be overstated for real. And I think the beautiful thing about it is because we do have a mission, that is the Great Commission. In a lot of ways, we're all working together, for the goal of spreading the gospel.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, and I think that that's what's great about Christian music, Christian metal is like we all enjoy it, but there's also it's like I really believe that,
Mm.
and it puts some legs to my faith and introduces other people to that as well. Um, like a Metallica record is great. I can totally enjoy that, but I'm not
Right,
I'm not necessarily um, believing in my heart what Hetfield's singing.
right,
Um,
exactly.
where I can listen to like the new Clear Convictions record
Hmm.
and what Danny Maldonado is screaming to the mic like I believe I'll go to my deathbed with that mentality. And so it's it's a different level of the music experience, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yeah, yeah. I think yeah, it's beautiful, man. Like for real. So what do you think is well, of course you have some new releases or whatever, but what's on your plate for 2026?
Just trying to figure out what the next release is going to be on the label, and also trying to get involved with a festival with some shows.
Yeah.
So we got some irons in the fire, and hopefully going to be announcing that soon. And then also I'm starting a sub label that's focused more on singer songwriter,
Oh,
indie rock, and
Okay.
so there's an artist that I'm going to be working with that is amazing, but definitely does not. It's not the same audience as Resuscitation, so we're doing it
right.
under a different label, and so
You got you
it's
got the name. What's the name for the label? Can you say that yet?
yeah, it's going to be the Artifact Vinyl Company,
Okay.
Okay.
um, and so
Cool.
working on that right now, and
Yeah.
going to be unveiling that hopefully in the next month or two, and trying to think what else. We're in Black Friday, Christmas season right now, so trying to sell as many records as I can and get them shipped
Facts.
out the door
Facts.
before the holidays, and so running some great discounts in the store if anyone's interested in. We're doing free
Hmm.
shipping for orders over $50. So it's there's a ton of great music out there, and hoping that people would support our bands.
I love that.
That's cool,
Yeah,
man. We
yeah,
love it.
y'all. It's important. Y'all do it. Do it.
That's right. That's right.
And
Get
I'm
on
gonna, I'm
over
gonna
there
do
and
it
get
too, for
you
sure.
got some pretty good albums on there. Got them for some of them are on discounted right now too. So
Right. Yeah.
Thanks.
well, Eric, tell us one thing about yourself that people watching this may not know.
Yeah, I'm a grandfather of 4 grandkids. So
Oh,
Nice.
Grant. Okay, awesome.
so yeah, I've got 4 kids. I got 3 adult children, and I've got 4 grandchildren, and so
Cool.
enjoy spending time with them, and hopefully raise them, help their parents to raise them in the Lord, and hopefully they catch the metal bug.
That's awesome. That's the best you could hope for, right? That's
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. What's your favorite thing about being a Christian?
Wow. Well, I would say the fact that the God of the universe has came down and wants to have a relationship with me, a dirty sinner, and sent his son to redeem my life is that's an amazing thing. And the whole idea of redemption and freedom from bondage and sin, and that there's hope in that this world is temporal, and there's hope beyond what we see in front of us. I think that's the best thing about being a Christian.
For sure. Love it.
That's good. Good stuff. Well, Eric, what can the Christian metal community do to support Resuscitation Records?
Get involved with our bands and check out their music. And if you can buy records, great. I prefer you buy them from the bands at their shows when they're playing, because that helps them the most. And really just anything you can do to share our music with other people. It's hard to be a voice out there because there's so many competing voices. But if people can share us or tag us on posts that they're sending, that's helpful. And go to live shows. Live shows are really coming back after COVID, and a lot of bands struggle to get out there and play. But when they play, they want people to show up, and so I think that's the best people can do to help us.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Well, looking forward to it, man. We'll be promoting your label and the bands, and hopefully these bands will gain some new fans.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thanks for reaching out, and your guys' support is tremendous. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you, man. For real.
No doubt.